Chained by progress, humanity is dragged by their seams towards dystopia. The contemporary man gambles his fate, bartering chips of freedom and independence to hedonism and chance. This new game forfeits liberty, but promises the floodgates. Are you happy with where society is heading?
Once more into the breach. Come outside with me. Now what shall we see? Drug lords, pimps, politicians? None of the sorts. Yet they are our kings, our knights and bishops. Now where does that leave us? As pawns, animals ever chasing the meritocracy? Try the squares they trod on. One after the other, we the people feel the weight of the gentry stomp over us, over and over. We will never be noticed. Promoted. Democracy, liberty, it's all lies. So am I happy with where society is heading? Why should I care? I'm not even playing the game.
Brave New World. How new actually are you? In 1760, a certain man discovers the power of the workforce. 1769, the factory is invented. 1780, people get to work. 1830, the middle class is born. 1835, the refrigerator is invented. 1846, the sewing machine is fashioned. 1886, the car is machined. 1903, the plane is piloted. 1913, Ford brings us assembly line. 1932, Brave New World is written. As culture evolved and society bubbled, obfuscated became the recollection that just 2 centuries ago our world was of kings and queens, of dictators and peasants. Huxley exposes his thesis to an audience ensnared by prospects of freedom and progress, ironically disgusted by the past and notions of future presented in the novel. It is a grave mistake of many to believe the citizenry had graduated from their monarchy, having entered a brave new world. In reality, society was no less embargoed by Chauvin in the 20th century, cultivating serfs to capital and enterprise rather than crown. Brave New World is a function of this dysfunction, an echo of conservatism, escapism, and feudalism, an answer to the ultimate tragedy of humanity's ego in desiring ultimatum in our entanglement with superstructure, underpinned by the newfound toil and trouble from capital's cauldron. Brave New World acknowledges the simultaneous and hypocritical endeavor for the civil individual to find liberty and order.
And of course, stability isn't nearly so spectacular as instability. And being contented has none of the glamour of a good fight against misfortune, none of the picturesqueness of a struggle with temptation or a fatal overthrow by passion or doubt. Happiness is never grand.
Humanity dines on the glamour of instability, as Huxley puts it, finding their pleasures in liberty and their obligation in order. In this critique of status quo, Brave New World is bohemian, a challenge to the world stage. But just as a body cannot exert a force upon itself, a Brave New World, and by extension Huxley, cannot articulate an entirely new society from the chassis of the old. A really efficient totalitarian state would be one in which the all-powerful executive of political bosses and their army of managers control a population of slaves who do not have to be coerced because they love their servitude. Huxley undertakes these tones of absolutism as he has come to know humanity's vanity in the past 2 centuries, as forgetful and forgiving to concepts of travesty under the consumption of pleasure. Humanity is the constant in these incessant coups on individuality, however what is not is the artist.
You see, most people don't see that their lives, no, their worlds are being puppeteered beneath the shadow they walk. Their hour upon the stage orchestrated by authority. There is no drive to my peers' decisions. They gorge on aesthetics and shield themselves from any semblance of critique under the enamel of their own self-indulgence. They could never see the dystopia we already live in, nor heed the words of Orwell and Huxley. I've read it all. I see it all. What they're trying to do to us. There is indeed a big brother and a world state. Right behind the camera.
Modernity promises no promises. If product be the food of pleasure, buy on, and so modernity has bartered away every checkpoint of progress to the lowest bidder. Huxley's forewarnings of dystopia are rocks in a river, yet premonitions flood the context of contemporary society.
One believes things because one has been conditioned to believe them.
One man is protective of his charmed life and has come to believe all that inhibits the superstructure that preserves elation to be dystopic. As it stands, elation and structure are separated by a thread. Praise is freedom for allowing turn to the roulette wheel, but humanity is yet to realize it is a roulette they want, not freedom. What man further fails to see is that dystopia occupies more than just his dislikes and opposition, but resides indisputably in this indulgence. Huxley, nor any other author or penman, could penetrate the ironclad skulls of modern consumerism, but seeks to cast away ideology for the fruitfulness of play, the postmodern rendition of which would see the deletion of moral righteousness for a society utilitarian in pursuit of hedonism. Soon there will be no cause for consistency or morality if it sees to progress the entertainment one can muster in their breast. You see, dear listener, you may not trust anymore.
Society is bunk. Man is bunk. Your wife, husband, your child, a nuclear family, it is all bunk. In the domino of man's many choices, a wrong turn was made. Now we are lost. There is no past to return to, nor a future to hope for. Your government, your people, they must not be trusted. They couldn't see as I can see the world. See, you are not free, nor do you wish to be. Goethe was right. Huxley was right. Orwell was right. All the great men of yestereve, they knew what was coming, yet not a single man listened, except me. And you have set the precedent. You will not listen to me either. There's nothing to confirm or challenge. Our world must be made anew. A brave new world must be made, and then that illusion, and all others, should mean nothing. This is our revolution.
Oh, stop! Stop! There is no democracy. Don't trust anyone. Run! Just run!